Our headlines for tonight. Philippines Defense Chief Gilberto Teodoro Jr. asserts that China cannot dictate the country's stance over one China policy.
28 luxury cars named to Vizcaya were now under the custody of the Bureau of Customs.
Malacanang Palace urges local government units to prevent anti-corruption protests from turning violent like in Indonesia.
U.S. President Donald Trump calls Chicago murder capital to send in U.S. National Guard troops.
Good evening, bringing you the latest news for tonight. I am ALVIN PELOBELLO.
And I am KRIZZA Lopez. This is Eurotv News Thread. The details on our broadcast. Philippines has firmly asserted that China cannot dictate its position on the One China policy.
With Defense Secretary Gilberto Teodoro Jr. rejecting Beijing's warning that the country is stepping on its red line, the statement comes in response to a Chinese threat related to an alleged visit by a Taiwanese foreign minister. More from this report.
The Philippines has once again taken its stance regarding China's statement that the country is allegedly stepping on Beijing's red line. This was asserted by Defense Secretary Gilberto Teodoro Jr. during the 80th Victory Day and the national celebration of Philippine-American friendship at Camp John Hay in Baguio City on Wednesday, saying that China cannot dictate the Philippines' position when it comes to the One China policy. Teodoro linked the statement to the Chinese Foreign Ministry's threat that the country would have a price to pay for trampling China's red line for interfering in Taiwan in connection with the alleged visit of Taiwanese Foreign Ministry to the country. According to the Secretary, Beijing's so-called red line is applicable only to Chinese territory and should not be implemented in the Philippines, which is a free and independent country. Teodoro stressed that although Manila respects the One China policy, while recognizing that Taiwan is part of mainland China, Beijing cannot prohibit Manila for engaging with Taiwan, particularly in economic matters and cultural aspects. The Secretary called on Beijing for allegedly using and reframing history at the expense of the Philippines. The Department of Foreign Affairs previously insisted during a hearing of the Senate Committee on Foreign Relations that the Philippines will continue to adhere the One China policy. This is ALVIN PELOBELLO for Eurotv News.
Following the initial raid where the Bureau of Customs found 2 luxury vehicles in the Vizcaya's property, the Bureau has now confirmed that a total of 28 luxury cars belonging to the Vizcaya are under their control. Henry Nicolas tells us more.
The Bureau of Customs or VOC confirms that 28 luxury vehicles linked to the Vizcaya family are now under its custody. In a statement, BOC said the family surrendered the additional 16 vehicles on top of the 12 vehicles earlier secured through a court-order search. The 16 vehicles are now undergoing processing by the BOC for sealing and documentation and will be guarded by BOC personnel, pending verification of importation records and assessment of duties and taxes. Meanwhile, on Thursday, several militant groups staged a protest in front of St. Gerard Construction in Pasig City, owned by the Vizcaya family. In a statement, Palace said, President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. said he did not want chaos amid the ongoing protest over the anomalous flood control project.
Nga po ng Pangulo, sinusunod po natin ang due process. Sa mga kapwa nating Pilipino, ang pag-iimbestigang ginagawa po ng Pangulo, ang pag-uutos na imbestigahan lahat, ay para din po sa taong bayan. Pero hindi po ninanais na magkaroon ng kaguluhan dahil lamang sa may mga maling information. Dahil ito daw ay ginagamit para mas paalabin ang galit ng mga Pilipino. Hindi po yun ang nais ng Pangulo.
In our separate statement, Pasig City Mayor Vico Soto calmed the public and explained that no one should be hurt, especially those who have nothing to do with the anomalies. Soto referred to the possible injuries as known as to security guards, workers, and the rallies themselves. Soto said, "Don't feel hopeless. The momentum is on the right side now," and called to continue for the fight for accountability. The local chief executive vowed that the city government will continue to do its part with the investigation case build up not just for the Discayas. Soto added that they had initial exchanges of information and coordination with at least 5 national government agencies but did not close details. This is Henry Nicolas for Eurotv News.
The Philippine Palace is advising local governments to prevent their constituents' anti-corruption protests from turning violent. Protesters are raging outside the Diskaya property, throwing mud at the establishment. Catherine Landicho has the report.
President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. has made it clear that he will not allow public protests against corruption to escalate into violence, as seen recently in Indonesia where demonstrations turned chaotic and destructive. The statement follows a protest staged outside a construction firm owned by the Diskaya family where demonstrators hurled mud and premises spray painted the word thief on the company's wall. In a statement, Presidential Communications Secretary Claire Castro emphasized that the President has given firm instruction to ensure all investigation into alleged irregularities in flood control projects follow due process.
Isin ng Pangulo na ganito ang mangyari. Sabi nga po ng Pangulo, sinusunod po natin ang due process. Sa mga kapwa natin Pilipino, ang pag-iimbestigang ginagawa po ng Pangulo, ang pag-uutos na imbestigahan lahat, ay para din po sa taong bayan. Pero hindi po ninanais na magkaroon ng kaguluhan dahil lamang sa may mga maling information. Dahil ito daw ay ginagamit para mas paalabin ang galit ng mga Pilipino. Hindi po yun ang nais ng Pangulo. Nais ng Pangulo ay maliwanagan lahat tayo kung ano nangyayari sa mga flood control projects at maibigay ang nararapat sa taong bayan. So, inuutos naman din po ng Pangulo sa mga concerned government agencies natin, sa mga law enforcement natin, na huwag niyo pong hayaan na mangyari po ito.
The official also warned against the spread of misinformation, which could inflame public anger and further destabilize the situation. President Marcos has already directed law enforcement and local government units to ensure that all protest action remain peaceful, especially those amid growing public scrutiny over the controversial flood control projects. This is Catherine Landicho for Eurotv News.
Due to the repeated absence from the Senate's investigation, the upper chamber has issued subpoenas to 5 contractors and several officials from the Department of Public Works and Highways. Included on the list of those subpoenaed is Curly Diskaya, the authorized managing officer of one of the corporations owned by the Diskaya family. Details on Mia Layagin's report.
As the investigation of the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee on anomalous flood control projects continue, the panel summons 5 other government contractors and some officials of the Department of Public Works and Highways to appear before the committee on September 8. On Thursday, Senate President Francis Cheese Escudero approved the issuance of subpoena against 5 contractors and 3 executive officials of DPWH, compelling them to participate in the hearing over substandard and ghost flood control projects. Among the contractors subpoenaed is Pacifico Curly Diskaya II, the authorized managing officer of Alpha and Omega Gen Contractor and Development Corporation, one of the construction firms named by the President. Diskaya is also the spouse of former Pasig City mayoral aspirant Sara Diskaya, who recently appeared before the committee as a representative of 2 other construction companies. Other contractors summoned are Darcy Kimel Respicio, General Manager of Darcy and Anna Builders and Trading, Sally Santos, owner/manager of SYMS Construction Trading, Maritoni Melegrito, the authorized managing officer of Elite General Contractor and Development Corporation, as well as Edgardo Sagum, owner and manager of Edmarie Construction and Trading. Aside from these contractors, 3 executive officials from DPWH were also summoned, namely Engineer JP Mendoza, the Chief of Construction Division of Bulacan 1st District Engineering Office, Engineer Bryce Erickson Hernandez, the former Assistant District Engineer of Bulacan 1st District Engineering Office, as well as Engineer Juanito Mendoza, Accountant 3 of Bulacan 1st District Engineering Office. Meanwhile, a subpoena duces tecum addressed to Commission on Audit Chairperson Gamaliel Cordoba was also approved, compelling the submission of fraud audit highlights of the agency's review on DPWH flood control projects, including the copy of the responses of the respondents on COA's findings. This is Mia Layagin for Eurotv News.
DPWH Secretary Vince Dizon has confirmed that contractors and district engineers in Bulacan who were involved in the Ghost project have been officially dismissed. The agency chief also assured that the involved contractors will face a lifetime blacklist from the department. Catherine Landicho returns.
Several officials from the Department of Public Works and Highways or DPWH in Bulacan have been relieved from their posts due to their involvement in irregularities concerning flood control projects, including a ghost project declared as completed despite construction not having started. DPWH Secretary Vince Dizon confirmed the immediate dismissal of Henry Alcantara, former district engineer of the DPWH Bulacan 1st District Engineering's Office. This decision followed an inspection conducted by Secretary Dizon on a flood control project in Barangay Sipat, Plaridel, Bulacan. According to Dizon, the 96.5 million pesos project located along the Angat River, Sipat section was officially reported as completed in June 2025. However, upon inspection, it was discovered that construction had only begun 3 weeks prior and was still being carried out by casual laborers. The constructor for the said project, Wawa Builders, is now facing perpetual disqualification from engaging in any future government contracts. Another company, Sims Construction Trading, which has previously been involved in Ghost Project, is also set to face lifetime blacklisting. In addition to Alcantara, Assistant District Engineer Bryce Erickson Hernandez and Engineer JP Mendoza, former head of the construction section at DPWH Bulacan 1st DEO, were also dismissed from the service.
Nakaw ito 100 million. 100 million. 100 million. So si Henry Alcantara, dismissed, and we will recommend filing of charges with the Ombudsman. Bryce Fernandez, JP Mendoza, I will already begin proceedings of dismissal. No, may proseso tayo dyan, kailangan natin sundin yan. Pero sisimulan na natin yan at hindi ako magtataka na madidismiss na rin to very very soon. Pero hindi na natin hihintayin yun. Papafayagan na rin natin kasabay ni Henry Alcantara ng appropriate charges sa Office of the Ombudsman. So I will order the DPWH legal team to already prepare the necessary recommendations supported by documents such as this, no, to file the appropriate charges against them. This is this is criminal. Mga hayop to, mga tao to, hindi tao to.
Secretary Dizon emphasized that the crackdown is part of the President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr.'s directive to cleanse the DPWH of corruption, especially in light of recurring issues involving substandard and ghost infrastructure projects. As part of broader reforms, Dizon assured that more officials and contractors will face removal and disqualification in the coming weeks. This is Catherine Landicho for Eurotv News.
Deputy Minority Leader Risa Hontiveros is advocating for the establishment of a specialty hospital for senior citizens to ensure they have access to quality age-appropriate health care. Raymond Montero reports.
Senate Deputy Minority Leader Risa Hontiveros is pushing for the establishment of a specialty hospital dedicated to senior citizens to ensure they receive quality and age-appropriate health care. Under her proposed Philippine Geriatric Center or PGC Act or Senate Bill No. 1302, the measure seeks to upgrade the National Center for Geriatric Health in San Miguel, Manila into a tertiary specialty hospital for the elderly. Hontiveros said the creation of a specialized hospital would bring great relief to Filipino senior citizens, noting that specialized care is often inaccessible in many health centers and public hospitals. The proposal also envisions the establishment of regional geriatric centers to make such services more accessible nationwide. Beyond the healthcare delivery, the Philippine Geriatric Center will also serve as a research hub for the prevention, diagnosis, treatment, rehabilitation, and care of diseases commonly affecting the elderly. The bill likewise provides for scholarships, incentives, and continuing professional development programs for healthcare workers specializing in geriatrics. According to Hontiveros, this would help address the shortage of doctors, nurses, social workers, and other medical personnel trained to care for senior citizens. Apart from the PCG Act, Hontiveros also filed two other bills aimed at the welfare of the elderly, including a measure granting a 1,500 monthly pension and another providing free medicines, vitamins, and supplements.
Sa patuloy na pagkilala sa karapatan ng nakatatanda, sa pagpupursige tungo sa isang active and healthy aging, at higit sa lahat, sa pagtataguyod ng mga age-friendly cities and communities. Mabuhay ang nakatatanda.
Raymond Montero for Eurotv News.
Malacanang Palace debunks the mere exaggeration claims that the administration is plotting to oust Vice President Sara Duterte and her allies. Mia Layagin tells us more details.
Malacanang Palace dismissed on Thursday the idea that the administration is plotting a plan to oust the Dutertes. In a press briefing, Palace Press Officer Attorney Claire Castro addressed the rumors that the Marcos administration is plotting something to put Vice President Sara Duterte in jail as well as to oust its allies. This follows a statement from Senator Amy Marcos claiming that the government is eyeing to place Department of Justice Secretary Jesus Crispin Boying Remulla as the ombudsman to serve BP Sara jail time despite the impeachment archive. Castro assured that there is nothing to worry about these rumors and that these ideas are mere exaggerations.
There's nothing to worry about in their statements. They are just creations of fertile and wild imagination.
Castro also fired back at Senator Marcos, encouraging it to pick up and believe stories that are backed with evidence and not rely with rumors. This is Mia Layagin for Eurotv News.
The Department of Education has filed a criminal complaint against seven private schools found to have a 69.1 million peso scam involving ghost beneficiaries in the senior high school voucher program. More from Vanessa Cleofas.
The Department of Education or DepEd has filed a criminal complaint against 7 private schools found to have ghost beneficiaries under the Senior High Schools or SHS voucher program. This was confirmed by Education Secretary Sani Angara during the House Committee on Appropriations hearing on the department's proposed 2026 budget amounting 928.52 billion pesos. According to Angara, after a thorough review by their legal department, it was revealed that 69.1 million was involved in relation to these fake students who were receiving SHS vouchers.
Thank you very much, Secretary.
Thank you very much, Congressman.
Thank you very much, Representative De Jesus. Next to ask question is Representative Salvador Pleito.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Sa ating esteemed guest, Secretary Sani Angara, sa DepEd family, magandang umaga po sa atin lahat. Tatlo yung tanong ko, Secretary, kailan nasagot na po yung dalawa, yung tanong ni Congressman Recto at ni Congressman Jokno. Ito lang siguro, hindi ko pa narinig kung natatanong na po ito. Gusto ko lang tanungin, Secretary, yung update ng paghahabol natin sa mga private schools ng mga ghost students. Napakaganda kasi ang layunin ng programang ito, ngunit naabuso naman ng mga kababayan natin. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Maraming salamat, Your Honor, Kong Pleito and Madam Chair. Just sa updates, naging masigasig po ang aming legal department. Kilala nyo yung ibang miyembro niyan. Kung saan nag-file na ho kami ng kaso laban sa 7 private schools na may ghost beneficiaries ho dito. So, final na ho sa fiscal's office yan. At may demand letters ho tayo dyan. So, may criminal cases ho tayo with the total amount involved of 61.9 million.
DepEd also emphasized that filing cases is just the beginning. The agency vows to hold all those involved in the ghost beneficiaries accountable. At present, there are still pending investigations within their legal department concerning similar cases involving other schools. It's worth noting that this is not the first time the issue of ghost beneficiaries has come to light. It had previously been investigated by the House Committee on Basic Education in Congress. Meanwhile, the senior high school voucher program is a form of a financial assistance given to senior high school students who enroll in private schools. The voucher amount ranges from 14,000 pesos to 22,000 pesos per student. It will be recalled that last March, 55 schools were removed from the program also due to issue involving ghost students. This is Vanessa Cleofas for Eurotv News.
The Department of Education is eyeing to address the shortage of classrooms in the country, not only with the help of the Department of Public Works and Highways, but with the assistance of the local government units. More from Don Dohilio.
The Department of Education is expanding its plan not only to the Department of Public Works and Highways, but also local government units may soon help in building schools. The goal is to speed up construction and immediately address the shortage of classroom for students. A broader role for local government units in building classroom is now a concrete possibility, according to the Department of Education. Instead of relying solely on the Department of Public Works and Highways, DepEd wants to give LGUs with enough capacity and resources the authority to construct additional classrooms, an initiative meant to fast-track the process and ease the shortage of facilities. Education Secretary Sonny Angara stressed that every additional classroom means renewed hope for learners, which is why speeding up project is crucial. DepEd plans to include in the 2026 budget a provision that would allow this kind of flexibility. An accreditation system is also being studied to ensure LGUs are ready and capable of meeting standards. Meanwhile, municipalities and cities with limited resources will be assisted through technical support and co-financing. DepEd assures that a uniform design and safety standards will still be applied to guarantee the quality and safety of schools nationwide. Apart from LGUs, Secretary Angara has already secured nearly 458 million pesos from the private sector, funds that will be used to build at least 84 new classrooms. This proves that different sectors are open to joining the solution. The shortage of classrooms has long been a pressing issue in the country. With greater participation from both local governments and the private sectors, DepEd hopes that construction will speed up and that every Filipino child can study in learning spaces. Dan Duhilio for Eurotv News.
A transport group staged a protest in front of House of Representatives, urging the chamber to thoroughly scrutinize the budget of the Department of Transportation. Here's the report.
Alongside the budget deliberation of the Department of Transportation at the House of Representatives, Transport Group Piston staged a protest. The group's call, do not turn the agency's budget into a business venture, but instead allocate it to genuine programs that will directly benefit drivers and commuters. According to Bong Bailon, Deputy Secretary of Piston, the massive 196.2 billion pesos DOTR budget would only be divided among big corporations and capitalists. He stressed that in Piston's long history of fighting for drivers and passengers' rights, not a single centavo has ever been allocated for them.
Kasaysayan ng Piston, halos wala kaming nakitang nailaan na budget sa transport sector. Kung meron man sa kasalukuyan ay napupunta lang doon sa mga korap na mga kooperatiba at korap na mga leader na kasagwat nila.
Piston pointed out that a huge portion of the DOTR budget has been allocated solely for the construction of the Bulacan Airport. Bailon emphasized that both the Senate and the House control the budget, adding that the funds will only go to waste as flooding in Bulacan continues. He also noted that they have never been invited to any consultation in drafting the agency's budget.
Buwan na yung nakalipas, wala man lang dumadating sa Gmail namin, sa Piston, sa email namin, o sa mga cellphone ng bawat individual na leader. Kung meron man, kami pa ang nagpupusa at nag-i-schedule na magkaroon ng mga hearing dialogue kagaya sa LTFRB, sa LTO. Yun po yung katotohanan. Sa Kongreso at sa Senado, wala kaming natatanggap na imbitasyon para bumalangkas o magrekomenda ng mga alternative na solusyon dito sa problema na kinakaharap natin.
If given the chance to help drop the DOTR's spending, Bailon said their first demand would be to return of their 5-year franchises. Another priority would be strengthening the local industry in manufacturing public utility vehicles so it can support drivers and remain competitive with other industries.
Natin, ayaw nilang bigyan ng pagkakataon itong mga Pilipinong mga skill worker na makagawa ng jeep, ng kotse, ng aeroplano, ng barko upang sa ganon matugunan yung pang-krisis na kalagayan ng ating bansa.
The group reiterated that the Public Transport Modernization Program or PTMP was designed only to hand over the sector to big businesses and foreign vehicle manufacturers. Piston is urging Congress to thoroughly review the DOTR budget and push for a truly nationalized transportation system that serves the Filipino people, not corporations. This is KRIZZA Lopez for Eurotv News.
A Singapore-based firm has presented its comprehensive master plan for Cebu City to Mayor Nestor Archival, proposing to develop the city into a major commercial center. More from Chandra Salayog.
Surbana Jurong, a Singapore-based firm, presented their Cebu City Master Plan at the office of Mayor Nestor Archival.
Ayon sa kanilang alok na programa para sa Cebu, plano nilang pagtuunan ang pagpapalago sa lungsod bilang isang commercial center. Pangunahin sa kanilang mga pinagdiskusyonan ay ang Metro Cebu Comprehensive Master Plan na naglalaman ng mga pangmatagalang plano sa transportasyon,
Next na tayo.
socio-economic,
For stories around the globe, U.S. President Donald Trump says he plans to send National Guard troops to Chicago to address what he called the murder capital of the world. Son Santiago tells us the details.
U.S. President Donald Trump said that he plans to send U.S. National Guard troops to Chicago over the city's crime concern. Posting on his Truth Social platform on Tuesday, Trump described Chicago in the state of Illinois as the murder capital of the world and pointed to rising crime figures. Meanwhile, speaking to reporters, President Trump said sending troops was an obligation, not a political act, though he offered no specific timeline. The announcement comes after a federal judge in California blocked the administration's earlier use of troops in Los Angeles, ruling it violated the law.
And there's no games, and they're very proud of it. And I would say they fought harder for it than anybody else also. A lot of states, 5 states really wanted it, but they wanted it more. And I kid you not when I say that these people, they spoke to me a lot.
Meanwhile, reports said the move, however, would mark an extraordinary step to militarize the nation's third-largest city. But the move has drawn strong opposition from Illinois governor and Chicago's mayor. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker said the president personally called him, but he rejected the plan outright in a press conference. On the other hand, Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson also made clear that the city does not want any kind of this move.
First, I want to address the president's unhinged remarks a few minutes ago, begging me to call him. No, I will not call the president, asking him to send troops to Chicago. Likes to go on television and beg me to call and ask him for troops. I find this extraordinarily strange, as Chicago does not want troops on our streets. Refuse to play a reality game show with Donald Trump again.
It can be recalled that a month earlier, Trump ordered deployment of National Guard troops into Washington, D.C., citing similar crime concerns, although reports showed that the crime there had already declined this year.
Want or need military occupation in our city. We do not want or need militarized immigration enforcement in our city. We have been clear on that, and we will continue to take every single measure that we can to protect our people from these threats.
Following that move, Trump claimed their presence turned the capital into a safe zone. This is Son Santiago for Eurotv News.
Korean fans, are you ready to meet the South Korean and model Lee Jung-suk in the Philippines? Ready your pocket for his Asia fan tour. Sam Martos has more.
Let's step into the world of entertainment for the latest news and update. For our showbiz news, K-fanatics, are you ready to be thrilled? Because South Korean actor Lee Jung-suk is returning to the country for his upcoming fan meet this November. South Korean actor Lee Jung-suk is set to visit the Philippines again as part of his Asia fan meet tour. This was announced by Ace Factory on their official Instagram account, where a poster was shared showing Jung-suk holding a camera along with the title "With Just Like This." Jung-suk is known for his starring K-drama series such as I Hear Your Voice, Doctor Stranger, Pinocchio, and many more. It will be remembered that the actor last visited the country in April 2023 for a fashion magazine event. Meanwhile, aside from Manila, Jung-suk will also visit the countries of Seoul, Tokyo, Osaka, Taipei, Bangkok, and Hong Kong. The said fan meet will take place on November 30, but no other details have been released yet on the place and how much the ticket for his tour. And that's our showbiz news. Once again, I'm Sam Martos. Back to you, KRIZZA and ALVIN.
And that's the latest news for tonight. You may visit Eurotvph.com for more news and information. Once again, I am KRIZZA Lopez.
You can also catch our live broadcast through our social media accounts and via PinExtreme channel. I'm ALVIN PELOBELLO. Thanks for joining us. This is Eurotv Newsroom. Stay safe and have a good night, everyone.